Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. At that time, Jesus left Samaria for Galilee. For Jesus himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his native place. When he came into Galilee, the Galileans welcomed him, since they had seen all he had done in Jerusalem at the feast, for they themselves had gone to the feast. Then he returned to Cana in Galilee, where they had made the water wine. Now there was a royal official whose son was ill in Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, he went to him and asked him to come down and heal his son, who was near death. Jesus said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The royal official said to him, "Sir, come down before my child dies." Jesus said to him, "You may go, your son will live." The man believed what Jesus said to him and left. While the man was on his way back, his slaves met him and told him that his boy would live. He asked them when he began to recover. They told him the fever left him yesterday, about 1 p.m. The father realized that just at that time, Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." And he and his whole household became believers. Now this was the second sign Jesus did when he came to Galilee from Judea. The Gospel of the Lord. There's an old Jewish story about how when it came time to cross the Red Sea, Moses stood there with his big staff in hand and raised his hands so that the water would be parted, and nothing happened. But when the first Israelite put their foot on the water, then all the water disappeared. In other words, there was necessary an act of obedience. An act of obedience that said, "I trust God even if the water's not gone yet." This is what this royal official does. He comes to Jesus with a valid request. Jesus chastises people for looking for a sign. It appears to be a contradiction to what this guy is saying. It's almost like Jesus is saying, "You want a sign? But the healing isn't the sign." What's the sign is when Jesus says, "Your boy will live," he trusts that statement and he immediately starts to go home. He trusts that statement and he acts on it. He acts by trusting that it's going to happen. As Jesus said, that's the sign. That his faith made the door open for grace to be filled in. And sometimes that is what's necessary. Further, I was thinking about, you go back to Adam and Eve. One act of disobedience destroyed everything. Because God made a simple request: don't touch that tree, it's going to hurt you. But they couldn't listen to that. They didn't trust him. They couldn't act on his word that he gave them. And I was wondering how many, personally in my own life, how many decisions I've made first without asking Jesus, is this what I should do? And secondly, when I receive my answer, how many times I've delayed or even failed to act. And those are not the proper responses, are they? When we know what he wants and we don't act on it, that could hurt us. And that's why he calls us to obedience. It could also affect the lives of many people, as we saw with Adam and Eve. You also see something else here. There's almost a hint, if I can read between the lines a little bit, there's almost a hint of St. John foreshadowing what Jesus is going to do on Calvary. There's this hint here, because when Jesus says go, this royal official goes. And the whole household comes to believe and experience salvation because of that one act. Can you imagine the profound effect we can have, the ripple effect in other lives, simply by being a people who obey and trust what God says? And this foreshadow that I speak of, Jesus is the king. Here's a royal official. He does what Jesus says. Jesus does what the Father says. It looks like the totally wrong thing to do. What? Go to the cross and be crucified? Yes. And so he goes. The royal official goes. He goes and his whole household is healed. Jesus goes to the cross, and the whole household of faith for the entire world, for all generations to come, is totally healed because of this act. The ripple effects are amazing, and we can cause some of them too. We can make little ripples in the pond because of our great faith.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquae meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.